Hey everybody, this is Rob and Jordan, and we are back for Archangel Inc. Live number 29. Jordan, how are you today?
I'm great, Rob. How's everyone doing out there?
So far so good. We're managing well on the home front here. So I hope everybody out there is likewise doing well and staying safe and enjoying whatever productive and creative time you're able to find for yourselves. Today, we are going to be talking about video. So last week, we talked about video a little bit, and Jordan, you liked some of the things that I had found, and so kind of suggested this as a topic for this week to latch on to and expand on a little bit, offer some different ideas about creative ways to use video, and some of the benefits potentially of using it. And I thought it was a good idea. So we'll see if we have quite as long of a live video as we usually do, since this is going to be going over a little bit of what we've covered before. But I think there might be some good ideas in here, and wanted to give it its own spotlight to kind of discuss. So is there anything that you wanted to share as we get started here, Jordan?
Yeah, I think, we hear a lot like that video is the next thing that, everybody should be using video. But I think it's one of those things sometimes it's like, okay, even if I agree with that, what does that mean? How do I do that? Does that mean I just have to jump on YouTube? Do I have to post live videos to Facebook? Like what are my options? And I think sometimes we can get overwhelmed by just not really knowing what our options might be. You don't have to jump over and start a YouTube channel. Certainly you can. That's one option we may even discuss here. But there's different little ways to use video and just to get your people to see you and connect with you and connect with your business in a more. But that's what video is. It's a live way. They get to see you, and they get to maybe even interact, which is a cool thing. Right. So we're just going to hopefully talk a little bit about that and provide some ways that you can use it.
Yeah, absolutely. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. So, how many words is a moving picture, worth?
Yeah.
And
3 million. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. 1,000 every microsecond, who knows? But,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think this is a great idea. And it's important to think about because, yeah, as you said, there are lots of different ways to potentially incorporate video. There are different ideas. You don't have to go down the same track as everybody else in in the world or even in your particular niche. You can figure out what makes sense for you, what you feel good and comfortable with, and what will work. Even if you don't want to actually get on video, we'll be talking about some ideas a little bit later of how to incorporate it without putting yourself in front of the camera. So I think all of that can be really cool and helpful. And yeah, so let's just jump right on in.
Good deal.
So, yep. First little note here: why use video? So let's see. We naturally pay attention to faces. So this is from that article that we posted, and I'll find a link and I'll post it again below. But they listed a handful of different things that video offers to users or to viewers that kind of make it a compelling medium. And the first one is, just psychologically, neurologically, we have this pattern of and tendency of paying attention to faces. There's something, even back to when we were a child, there's something very primal and familiar about it and meaningful. We get a lot of information from the people around us and particularly from their faces. So video allows you to kind of harness that. And on the creative side, if you're intentional and deliberate about the use of a video and how you present yourself, again, you can convey a lot of information, a lot of sincerity, hopefully, and just kind of present yourself in a way that is favorable to you, and gives people a chance to see that you're authoritative, that you're competent, that you're whatever you're going for. You might be really funny and kind of crack jokes or whatever it may be. A lot of that will come through more effectively through video, through your facial expressions, and we just kind of pay attention to that. So do you have anything that you wanted to share on that note?
Nope.
Cool. Number 2, actually they're not numbered, but the next one, we respond to human voice. So again, there's a lot of information that is conveyed, obviously, in the literal message that we share with people, but there's even more information that's conveyed by the subtextual message that we send. So, if I say something with a warm tone or a reassuring tone or a sarcastic tone or a funny tone or something, there's just more information that you get out of that. And again, when you're using the video medium, it allows you to share a little bit more, and people also just pay attention. So, when if it's in the background, and let's say you have something that is sounds of nature, or sounds of machines going through some industrial process or whatever, maybe you're not paying attention, but all of a sudden somebody's voice rings through, whether it's a child crying, or a foreman saying everybody off the line, or whatever it is, that catches our attention. And so you want to do that. That's unfortunately, I see a lot in like on ESPN or some news websites. They'll have those little pop-up videos, which can be very frustrating because it'll distract you. It'll pull your attention away from the article you're trying to read because you've got some human voice kind of speaking over it. And then because it's, again, poorly designed and not very popular, you'll go up and you'll pause it or mute it or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, we're paying attention to human voices. It's not something we can easily drown out and forget about. So that's something that is going to, when used deliberately, potentially help deliver your message.
Yeah, my only note with that, Rob, is that can apply directly to podcasts as well. It's another reason why podcasts can be so entertaining and so compelling. It's not just like you're listening to people. I mean, I think you could say the same thing about radio when radio first happened. Oh, this is like cool. I can listen to this anywhere. I can be entertained, and it's human voice. It's there. It's right there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. Cool. Another thing that kind of connects with us neurologically, we respond to movement. So, our peripheral vision is very tuned to, subtle movements in the background. Obviously, what's in the foreground is something that we're paying attention to, but, it's something that we really can't turn off. If we see, a squirrel darting around in, outside of our window on the side, or, a dust bunny, kind of brush up. You think, oh, what the heck? What's going on? I didn't think, But anyway, we pay attention to movement. So again, it's just another reason why video allows you to connect with people. We just naturally want to pay attention to that. And when we harness it, we can use that to our own positive effects. And we respond to emotion. So again, we pay attention to human voices. We pay attention to human faces and to movement, and all of that can elicit an emotional reaction. We can also, as we're getting more and more sophisticated, with our use of video over time, you can utilize, different technical ways to kind of build that emotional connection. You can utilize music, or you can use editing, or zooming in or zooming out, or different ways to approach it. But all of that is outside of just the text of what you're saying, about outside of the literal words that you are conveying, and so it adds additional depth and meaning to the content that you are delivering.
And one thought with that, Rob, is I think a lot of this, at least for video, is not really, it's not super difficult to do. I mean, you can just jump in and you can do a lot of these things right off the bat. I mean, just by showing up, you're doing these things in video. Now, a lot of these things, I think, besides having someone look at your face, you can become a very good writer and kind of put, you can paint the picture, you can put people there. But I think that takes a lot more work and a lot more effort to do that, and a lot more time to be able to write that well. As opposed to video, obviously, there are different levels of video that you can get to. But as far as what we're talking about here, just by showing up and by just being there and recording yourself, you can hit a lot of these things.
Yep, absolutely. So that, I think, is a nice lead into our next note here, and that is video can help your audience to know and connect with you specifically. So when they're reading the words on that on the page that you've written, your blog posts, or the content that you've put out, they have a particular sense of who you are and what you're about. But when they see you in person on screen, it gives them additional insight into you, makes them feel like they're more connected to you. Like, hey, that's the guy who, likes to make goofy faces, or, who has the same haircut as I do, or, whatever. It just allows them to develop that relationship and connection with you. And that particularly, as you go on and network and develop sort of relationships with people within your industry, within your audience, when you have yourself out there and you're at least a little bit public facing, you're able to people can recognize you and want to interact with you. Say, hey, that's Rob, I know him, or that's Jordan, I know him. I've seen your videos before, and it might make it a little bit easier for them to approach you or to want to deepen that relationship. At some sort of networking and some networking capacity and some marketing capacity, or in just some general public facing capacity. And that might be something that you're looking to do that video can help with.
Yeah, we may jump into this more later, but I think it can really help with that trust factor. If I'm going to buy something from someone online, I really want to at least know, at first know they're a real person.
Right.
And YouTube or having videos or doing any kind of video content shows that it's a lot harder to fake that. I mean, you could potentially fake it if you were just writing. And I mean, probably most people aren't doing that, but you could do that. Mm-hmm. It'll be a lot more difficult to say, hey, you're buying from me. And then, I don't know, whatever, your money is not being put where you thought it was. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a lot harder to fake.
Right. Yeah, I've seen some people, particularly people who live stream regularly, say that the frauds will be exposed by video and by live stream. You can't go and stream or do podcasts or create content on a consistent basis for hours or even over time, weeks and months and years, without having some sort of internal character consistency. If you are not mm-hmm. authentic, if you're not basically a decent person, or as you present yourself, those inconsistencies and contradictions will start to come out. And so it's a good way to build that trust and that rapport, and have people think, yeah, okay, this is somebody who I feel good about supporting, getting behind, mm-hmm. learning from, and being involved with. So I think that is mm-hmm. really helpful.
Yep.
All right. So let's see. We've got some statistics here. And pull that up one second. Next one is 86% of YouTube viewers use the content to learn new things and consume an average of 1.5 hours of content per day. So I'll let you start off, Jordan, and then I can share some thoughts on that.
Sure. I mean, I imagine that stat is even higher right now with everyone at home. In some ways, that's surprising to me that they're consuming just learning an average of 1.5 hours of content per day. I think that's really interesting, because normally you'd think like people are watching TV just to be entertained, mm-hmm. but that's showing that that's not necessarily true. Obviously there's going to be a lot of time being spent on entertainment, but yeah, YouTube really is, and YouTube and video in general is a place to just learn new things. And I think that's really cool. I did not know that stat, 86%. That to me, that's high. That's really cool. If you want to learn something new, what do? If you need a play-by-play and you need a visual,
right.
Yeah, YouTube. I've used YouTube to fix, to go through and fix several things myself. So it's
yeah, I've got a friend who lives, in my area, who ended up reflooring, putting in new hardwood flooring throughout his house. And he learned the basics of how to do it through YouTube, and he would see people demonstrate it, kind of discuss it. And I've heard this from a number of people, especially when they have, kind of home projects or DIY things. Like, you can learn just about everything on YouTube. Obviously, sometimes you might want to go with more premium content, things that are going to be packaged in a way that's more concise, more easily digestible, more comprehensive, mm-hmm. Whatever it is that you might be looking for. But I can certainly attest to the idea of using YouTube for learning. And learning doesn't even necessarily have to take the path of DIY projects or mm-hmm. learning physical skills. I would say that a lot of the YouTube content that I listen to is it is entertaining to some extent, but it's mm-hmm. about something I'm interested in. It's about something I want to learn more about. So, even what we're doing right now, I think would fit under that 86% of viewers using the content to learn new things. Hopefully, we're conveying some information and imparting something that has some value and use. And obviously, again, the good content creators do their best to meld that with entertainment and not be totally dry and disengaging. But
smile once in a while,
Right, exactly. Make it a little bit fun. Do something that's going to keep the reader's interest. And so it's just an incredible stat. And the other part of it that I want to highlight is it's an average of an hour and a half of content per day. So that's a lot of content for people
Yeah.
to be consuming. That's 500 hours ish per year. You can learn a lot in 500 hours over the course of a year, which also means that 500 hours over a year times however many millions of people that are potentially in your audience, you've got a lot of opportunity to kind of fill that niche. If you present something that is interesting, that is compelling, there's a ton of search out there for potentially something exactly like what you're offering. So it gives you an opportunity, again, without having to be on the nightly news, be featured on the front page of a national newspaper or even your local newspaper, to find your audience and engage them in a meaningful and helpful way.
Yep.
Cool. All right, moving on. Another thing that is useful about audio or about video, it can help with SEO, which is, again, search engine optimization. Makes your content more findable. And there are a few different things that I have down here that contribute to that. One, video content is more shareable, so people are more likely to share a video, a short video or even a longer video, as compared to a written post. And this is kind of cool. Pages with video are 1.5 times more likely to rank on page 1 of Google searches. So if you want your information, your content to have greater visibility, to be more recognized and click through on whatever search engine you're trying to reach out to, whether that is Google, the big one, or YouTube, which is the second biggest search engine in the world, or Facebook, or Amazon, or any other vendor or provider, then having video can be really helpful for that. Again, you don't think about it this way, but on Amazon, a lot of there are customer reviews. You have these video content reviews, and they'll often be ranked pretty highly in terms of the review functionality. So if you feel strongly about a product or something that you've purchased, and you do a video on it, that's going to show up a little bit more readily. It's going to be more prominent. In the case of authors and people who are kind of in our audience, having some sort of, a book trailer, let's say, or, a testimonial about the content that you're creating, or about the services that you're offering that are corollary to it, can be really helpful. People want to go there and click through on something. People can kind of have video on, I would imagine, in the background, and they'll click on it, and maybe they'll lean over, and if something catches their attention, they hear a human voice, they see some movement, something is going on, then they're more engaged, they're paying attention to it, and there's longer read times. It's not like a page where you click onto it and then realize, no, this isn't for me, and very quickly jump off of it. The fact that you click through and maybe you spend a minute or 3 minutes or 10 minutes on that page rather than 1 or 2 or 20 seconds is meaningful, and increases the perceived relevance of that page, and that's really helpful. So
and just a side note there, it's if you're running WordPress, it's actually pretty easy to plop your YouTube video in there too. You don't even need to do anything special. All you need to do is grab the YouTube URL and just plug it into the page, and it automatically will pop up as a nice little YouTube box on your website. So if you're running WordPress and you're like, I don't know technically how to get the video on my site, it's actually pretty easy. And I'm sure, on whatever other platform you might be running, Squarespace or something, I'm sure it's just as easy as popping it in there too. Most website builders are going to have functionality with, especially if we're talking about YouTube and putting a video there, it's going to be mostly pretty easy to do that, provided you have a video to put in there.
Yeah, right on. So in some cases, literally drag and drop functionality. All right, cool. So moving on, how to use video as a content creator. So first one, on your About Us or company culture page. So tell us a little bit about that.
I think that's just a great place to have it. Like we were just talking about before, if you're selling something or providing some kind of service, you have About Us page, people can go and read about you. And then you have a video there showing that you're a real person, talking about your business, showing that you're knowledgeable. I think it just is going to be an immediate trust booster. And it's a great place for video, and one that I don't think we necessarily think about. I think we think of, at least for me, I think of videos as the entertaining or just like how to answering a thing, but it can also be there providing just an inside scoop and a look at you and how you run things. And yeah.
No, I agree. I have a colleague, someone who retired recently from working for USAA, which is a insurance and banking company for veterans. And he mentioned that they work really hard on getting good talent, and they've got whatever all the various benefit packages and so forth that they offer. But he said, check out their YouTube page or their website, and they had information on sort of company culture and what it's like to work from them. There was one video I looked at, one of their campuses. They kind of just describe the amenities, the open air architecture, so that you're not kind of everybody stuck in a cubicle. There's lots of natural light. There's an included gym on campus, and basketball courts and running trails, and different things that make it a more desirable place to be. So actually seeing all of that instead of just reading out an amenity list, I think is probably helpful to them, for attracting the kind of people who are interested in that. And that's nice. It's meaningful. You watch it and you can watch it again and you're like, wow, that's really cool. I like that. Or, the sunset looks really neat, in this shot or whatever it is. So you get a more immediate sense of what they're about when you do that. And personally, I know that I really like some of those behind the scenes videos. What's it like to be on the floor of the Tesla manufacturing plant or whatever. You're like, well, this is kind of neat, and you get a little bit of a sense of that. I would say also, and then let's see on your about it. Yeah, okay, moving on. So a product demo video, that's another good idea, I think. Obviously, when you're looking at more physical products or things that aren't just content like books or videos, then having a demonstration can be really cool. But even so, I mean, unboxings are incredibly popular. Being able to pull something out, even if it is a writing tool or a new type of pen that you really like to use, or a new laptop that you're looking into getting, or something like that, going through and recording yourself, making use of it, describing its functionality and all of that, it can really kind of add some utility to people making that decision. And again, maybe it's not even your product. In some cases, it might be, but it might be you have an affiliate relationship with a product, and you can say, "Hey, listen, this is what I've found. This is how I've used it. This is kind of a look at it, and this is a demonstration of what this product is all about. And if you're thinking about it, here's what you can expect."
Yeah, and I think especially a product online too. We've done screen shares of Publisher Rocket. So that's just one self-publishing tool. And I know Dave has a lot of demo videos of how do you expect to use this? And I think any kind of online product, it's really helpful to have that. Okay, I may want to use that, but what does it look like? And you can kind of put yourself in the shoes of the person using it. Okay, is that really going to help me? Does it have the functionalities I need? Am I going to be able to figure it out easily? Is it going to take a lot of my time to figure out? Because I mean, that's a good question right there. And the demo videos can really help you figure that out. And it really, for online products, I think screen shares are particularly helpful. I mean, you can have other types of videos kind of showing what it can do. Maybe it even just shows you the results. You show your customers the results they can expect to achieve. That could be a potentially good video too.
I like that that idea of using screen shares, especially for digital products. And one of the nice things when you kind of have one of these like unboxing videos or introductory videos, it can grace the groove. As you said, sometimes the big impediment is just getting started and figuring out like, I don't want to have to teach myself one other thing. I don't want to have to learn one other thing. Well, if somebody is creating some video content that you can just kind of sit back and consume, it makes it that much easier. It makes it that much more approachable. You think, okay, I've seen it. I kind of know what to expect. It really doesn't seem that bad. And, they've gone through enough care and attention in creating this thing that it's not going to be a pain in the neck to start and create on my own. So
Yeah, and I think about that when I'm considering whether I want to get something or not. Okay, there's a couple videos, maybe they're an hour long. Okay, it's going to take me an hour. I can watch the videos and I can kind of figure that out.
mhm,
And if there's not that there, maybe there's some resources, but I don't know how in depth those resources are. I don't know if I'm going to have questions. I mean that's a true thing. You know, I value my time. So am I
mhm,
going to be able to go in and watch something real quick and figure out how to do it, or am I going to have to do a lot of digging myself? If that's
right.
the case, I may not be as interested in getting that
Mhm,
specific product, especially if you're in a niche where there's a lot of other competitors that
mhm,
may be answering that better. I'm going to go to them, you know,
yep,
because it's more clear, it's more user friendly, and obviously all those things are important. But if you're doing a video and showing the behind the scenes, people can see that right away. They
yeah.
know that your product is the real deal.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. And you know, you can also, as a creator of a particular product, when you have these demo videos out, you can create kind of a learning library out of it. You know, and I've seen this from, you know, like Dave Chesson, for example. You mentioned all the videos that he has about using Publisher Rocket for different things, or using some of the tools on his website for different parts of the publishing process. When you have that, it is a resource that makes it easier. You know, somebody can kind of go on a deep dive and okay, that's cool. I have a sense of how to use this particular aspect of the functionality. What about the next one? And you can really become, you know, kind of an expert, or at least you know, move past the novice stage pretty quickly if you have that learning library to lean on. And so this video content can become part of that. And then also, you know, just like a book, it allows you to spend time with the creator, spend time with the
Mhm.
person that you're looking to potentially buy something from, and build more of a relationship with. And you think, yeah, you know what, like I've just spent, you know, a couple hours learning from Dave. Like I like him, he's a good dude, and I want, you know, I want to take this next step. I want to make this purchase. I want to, you know, reach out. I want to engage with this in a more active way. So yeah, it just gives you a chance to, again, at your own pace, develop a relationship with your audience, and help them to feel more connected and want to potentially, you know, purchase from you, or you know, collaborate with you in some way.
Yeah, I think that's such a great point, Rob. You can either have a potentially maybe boring FAQ that kind of goes over some things, or you could take the advantage and take the opportunity of showing how to use it yourself. Like we said that, and Dave does that. He just jumps in, and I think the people that do that are really taking advantage of that, initial, opportunity to just build that trust and relationship with people. I think
Mhm.
that's really cool. It's a good idea.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, one of the things, this isn't exactly a product demo, but some of the videos that I've created over, you know, the last several years of this channel have been from our clients, or people in author groups who have a question
Mhm.
about, you know, hey, what are my options if I'm looking to make a hardcover book, or you know, what
Yeah.
trim size should I select, or you know, I've got this message from Amazon, and you know, what do I do about it? And so, you know, it gives me an opportunity to say, "Hey, I've been there, I've done that before, and here's my insight. Here's what I've learned. Maybe this is of some value to you." So, you know, it's not exactly a product that we're demonstrating, but we're demonstrating, you know, that we may have some capacity to help. You know, to be a mentor if you're interested in, you know, working with somebody who's been around the industry a little bit. Obviously, we'd be happy to talk to you, and so that's kind of one of our goals in creating this content and creating these live videos, and doing all of this. But yeah, it's a demonstration in some ways of what we're about, not just of what you know, particular product can do. Although that's helpful as well.
Yep.
Right on. Okay, so next thing, customer testimonial videos. And by the way, I want to mention we've got Dale in the house. What's up, Dale? Good to see you. Thanks for checking in and leaving a comment here. Okay, so customer testimonial videos. So tell me about those, Jordan.
I mean, I think these are huge. Again, if you're just going to have customer reviews on your website, with like a little box and, a little written word and then their image and a couple stars, or however you want to organize that. Or you could choose to have a video from them on there. And I think that could potentially be huge because, it's easy to kind of talk yourself up and say, hey, my business is the best thing ever, buy from me. But the whole reason we have review systems and customer testimonials is to say that, hey, real people have used this and they have actually enjoyed it too. And they've enjoyed it enough that they took their time to make a video about it, and you can watch that. And you never know, maybe there's going to be some incentives for those type of people in the background. Obviously you don't know those things, but still, they're a real video, a real person taking the time to do a video about a company. I think it shows a lot, and especially if they're quality videos and the people are giving good feedback. You can use your discernment and judgment as hey, did they really use this, or are they just doing their buddy a favor? Who knows? Right. But I think it's easier to tell that in a video versus just some, a written text of a testimonial.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why it's so common in like television advertisements or infomercials. They'll jump to the user review, the user testimonial. Oh my gosh, the Ronco, I really could set it and forget it, and I don't have to think about it. Look at this amazing rotisserie chicken that's come out at the at the end of this. So having that, I think is just really helpful. So again, we talked about earlier how do I incorporate video in ways that maybe don't involve me being in front of the camera. This could be one way. Maybe the people that you work with, the clients that you collaborate with, if they're willing to get in front of the camera, you can use that as well. It doesn't just have to be, you as a talking head sitting in front of the, in front of the screen and putting yourself out there. Although, there's a place for that as well. Yeah, I mean, in general, I think that the customer testimonial video is just going to be a little bit more effective than even a written testimonial. An audio one probably would be pretty good too. You can hear that during podcasts. Like sometimes people will read feedback from their audience or call-ins or something, and that's helpful because again, you get a sense of other people out there. At least one or two other people that they've persuaded one way or another are interested enough. They're going to leave a review and leave a testimonial. But when you have that video out there, it's not just letters on a page. Like I can say, hey, Joe Smith really loves working with Archangel Inc. And you think, okay, that's fine. Why do I care about Joe Smith? Does Joe Smith even exist?
Yeah, who is this?
But if I see Joe Smith, and maybe Joe Smith is a little bit like me, maybe he mentions, hey, I had him put a book together for the first time, but man, it was scary, it was overwhelming, but I'm really glad that I found these folks and they were able to kind of guide me through the process. That means something, and more even than just the words on the page. So anyway, another opportunity to use video, another avenue to use video is on landing pages. So how would you use it on a landing page if you were thinking about it, Jordan?
I would put it at the very top. I've seen a lot of statistics, and I can't quote any off the top of my head. Can't remember exactly where I heard these, but I've seen it in several different places that say, conversion rates, how well people, conversion rate meaning the amount of people coming to your page versus the amount of people buying is going to be higher if you have a video somewhere in there. Most likely on the top, kind of either giving a client testimonial or showing what the product is about, or just showing you saying, hey, I built this. This is why I built this, or however you want to do it. Having video is, again, that immediate connection, and it can just be huge for building that trust. And that's really what a landing page is all about. You're trying to bring someone there, sell them something, provide them some value, give them something that they need, but you're also sharing about yourself too, and that's important.
Yep. Yeah. Give them a reason to spend more time with you. It's going to take a little time for them to want to make that step. You don't typically go from the introduction to buying phase, like in courtship, you don't shake somebody's hand for the first time and get married 5 minutes later. You need to get to know them a little bit, find out about them, figure out what they're about. And creating good, compelling copy and having some video content really helps with that. I would imagine as well, I certainly use video content or videos in this way on kind of landing pages. You start watching it a little bit. If it's engaging, maybe you stay. Otherwise, you can start reading the content below. You still have that going on in the background. You're still getting a sense of what the person's about, what their voice is like, and kind of describing the product and whatever it is. But you can kind of browse and scan and use it as a kind of dual approach to keeping them engaged, keeping them on that page, and giving them a chance to get to know you.
Yeah, I think having it there as an option is key, because some people are going to navigate to your page. They're going to be maybe a little colder than you want them to be.
Mhm.
And yeah, having that there as an option that they can click and get an immediate, that's the thing about video. It's immediate. They can see you.
Mhm.
That's why we like watching movies versus reading books. No, not all of us, but some of us. It's just that immediate, it gives you that information that you need. You don't have to sit down and do a lot of effort to get that. You can just click and play, and then it's there for you.
Yep. No, I absolutely. Cool. All right. So landing pages are another way to utilize video. So again, we're just going over different topics, different ways. So again, if you don't want to, just become a regular YouTube content creator, if you don't want to make that a part of your consistent business, or a Facebook Live content creator, you can use video in a deliberate and intentional and infrequent way to still magnify your efforts. And
Yeah.
yeah. So another thing that you brought out, which I think is kind of cool, use an app like Bonjoro to send instant welcome videos to new subscribers. So I'm not familiar with Bonjoro, so tell me a little bit about that, would you?
It's actually pretty cool. I think it's relatively new, but what it does is it hooks up into your email subscriber service, and anyone that's popping into your email list, it sends you a notification, say, hey, you have a new person. Would you like to send them a video? And it's all done on an app on your phone, so you kind of have it mobile and with you.
Mm-hmm.
So that when someone signs up, you can do pretty much immediate, within an hour, send them a video recording and just say, hey, whatever, hey, Sam, hope you're having a great day. I saw that you signed up for, whatever specific page they signed up for. I can go in and see that and say, hey, and what it does is it shows them that they're a real person. They're not just it's not just another email subscriber on a list of 100,000 people that, they're never going to be able to connect with you. It shows that you can connect with them right away. It's something I've been using the last several months, and I really like it. I think it's a really cool way of just initiating that conversation. I've gotten a lot of good feedback too, and say, hey, Jordan, wow, I didn't expect this at all. This isn't something people do. It's just, again, we've talked a lot about this before, Rob, just the general mindset and intention of just doing things that not everybody else is doing. Doing the things everyone else is doing to build your platform and have everything there, but then just going the one step further and just taking a little bit more effort, especially when you're first starting out. You can do things like this. We don't have a list of 200,000 of hundreds of thousands of people, because obviously you wouldn't be able to keep up with something like this unless you had a team. But even still, it'd be hard to have that personal connection and have you do it. But if you're in a phase of growth, or if you have the capacity to do something like this, why not connect? There's so much value to just automation, where an email service can just put their name in and automatically get sent out. I see a lot of value in that. But if you can just take a little bit extra time and single people out and say, hey, I appreciate you. Thank you for signing up. And it's a surprise. I think people see that and they're like, oh, wait, did you say my name?
Right.
The one lady said, hey, I had to watch this 3 times to make sure, you really did say my name. It's like, yeah, I'm spending a little bit of time. And most people are going to figure out that, yeah, you're sending, some of your emails are going to be automated. And that's just part of the process. That's part of what building a business is about. But as many times as you can, just to personalize it, that's really where we should be taking these type of opportunities. But anyway, this is a really cool program. I've been excited about it. It works, and yeah, it's done well so far.
Right on. Awesome. So I've certainly heard about it here first. And so folks out there, if you're not familiar with it, I think it's really cool as well. And it's something I might like to try. Like you said, Jordan, if you have a 6-figure mailing list and 1,000 people signing up every day, kind of hard to take time out of your day to send 1,000 30-second messages to all your new subscribers, like minute after minute. But it could be, I think, a really, really cool thing, especially as you're starting out, to build that relationship and develop more of help them develop more of an affinity for you. Like, hey, that's Jordan. That's the guy who actually sent me a personalized message that, when I signed up. So, I'm going to think twice about unsubscribing, down the road, because, hey, this is a real person. And I kind of, I like this person, or I am going to be just that much more interested in making a purchase when he starts when he releases a new book, or when he has a new video course available, or whatever it is. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think too, Rob, with that, I think it's going to be helpful for the people that aren't a good fit. The people that don't want to see those things, they don't want to get those type of messages.
Mhm.
Hey, for me, it's perfectly okay. Go ahead and unsubscribe. Like this is what it's going to be. I'm going to do the best I can to reach out to you and help you. And if you don't want that, then that's fine with me.
Right.
Don't let me fill up your email inbox. That's totally fine. I want the people on my list that actually do want to hear from me. And I think that's where we should all be, headed. That we don't. It's a numbers game in some ways, but in a lot of ways, it's not. So.
Yeah, it's a fit game,
Yep.
as much as a numbers game, if not more. Yeah, there's an email list that I signed up for recently, and the author said, over whatever the next several days, you'll be getting emails from me about this material. I will periodically, mention my book or other things that I offer. You can buy or not. That's up to you. But if you're going to be annoyed by me mentioning, the way that I sustain myself and make a living, feel free to unsubscribe right now. I'm not going to stop, trying to build my business and just provide content for free without bothering you. Like, this is part of the way I want to connect with people and allow me to keep doing this. So I thought that was pretty cool and transparent, and it was matter of fact, and maybe even a little bit funny, but gave some context. And I think sometimes people don't realize, as consumers, if they haven't been on the other side of the content creation side, what's involved. And I would say we're fortunate that we have a pretty positive and engaged audience and appreciative audience, but sometimes you find those people who just they can't be satisfied. They're going to be really choosy and picky and demanding and not appreciative. So setting boundaries and creating lines of demarcation that allow them to opt in or gracefully exit. Nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So this is what we're doing. We're going live. It is an immediate way to get attention. So live videos. I know several months ago when I was talking to Dale, who is in the audience again, or at least was earlier. Thank you, Dale, for hanging out. He mentioned that at least at that time, YouTube was kind of gearing their algorithm and Facebook as well for live content, and book material just tended to do better if it was live. They just wanted to see more of that being created. I think probably it helps with view time and helping people just stay on the platform longer, which is beneficial for the platform. And so being in a sort of live video creation mode just automatically gave you a little bit of a leg up compared to some static videos, that are out there and have maybe existed for a while. And so that's advantageous. You can get that attention right away. If you're on Facebook, like we are right now, somebody, is subscribed to the Archangel link page, and they scroll down and they see a live video and they see us chatting and talking and our heads on there. It's more immediately attention grabbing. And and so it can be really cool and helpful in that way. What do you think, Jordan?
No, I just think it's really cool because it shows people that we're not, we didn't do this a year ago. We're talking about this stuff right now as it is in the current pandemic, in the current status of Amazon and all the things that are going on. We're present right now, and I think that's cool. And I think you're right. I think that is where people, where YouTube and Facebook are going. That just seems to be the way of things that they really do like. And really, if you're in a place where you can, be comfortable answering questions and being live and talking about this kind of stuff, it's really a good opportunity. I want to get into doing it more on my own channel, and I plan to, think about that in the near future, and doing that, because I think it can be just a really good place, especially if you have an audience and you have people that are in there with you and jumping in, and it's just a great place to just give back to them. And it's different when you're just doing a video and answering comments versus, hey, getting things live. I think it's that real interaction that people, really crave and really like. And I think that's where live videos are really cool.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. There's a sense of engagement. There's a sense of unpredictability as well. You know, like you don't know exactly what's going to happen. It's not pre-scripted. Obviously, you know, in our case, we have some ideas and notes that we take, but the conversation can go in different and interesting ways. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we had a number of questions from one of the commenters, kind of asking about different ways that he can approach his book, book business, and do you need to have experience or authority in a field, to create content around it. Some of these things, it just gives us an opportunity to be a little spontaneous and free flowing, and I think that's cool. It's captivating and it's fun, and we always appreciate when people out there have their comments and want to engage with us and are gracious enough to join us for some of these live videos. So yeah, another way that you can do it. Another advantage I would say about going live, you don't need to work too hard on it. Obviously, I mean, it's nice to have some preparation. It's nice to have some idea of what to do, but you can, get on live for 2 minutes, for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes. You don't have to have everything kind of set up and ready to go. You don't have to have again, a full script outlined. This isn't a whole blog post that you have to spend a couple of hours on. You just share some thoughts and maybe answer a question or two. It just gives you a way to, not have to prepare in the same way. If that's a sticking point for you, going live can assist. Because you don't need to bring that same level of production value and setup and all of that. It just makes it removes that barrier of entry a little bit.
Yeah, and I think if you have the luxury of having someone on with you, I know, Rob, it's a lot easier for being on it with you. We've talked about this too. You can have a back and forth. You can have a little bit of a break to think. Mm-hmm. I think being on by yourself is doable, and certainly there's people out there that will thrive, and you can try it and try it out for yourself. But for me, I think it is really nice having someone else on there with you. Someone else to look and manage comments and try to figure out what's going on. So yeah, if you have the luxury of finding someone else maybe it's another author in a similar niche, and you're like, hey, let's start a YouTube live channel together. I don't know the logistics of doing that, but it is a lot easier when you can have a back and forth and a break and time to gather your thoughts, versus just saying one thing and then, okay, I guess I'm going to transition here and jumping onto that. It's just a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I agree.
It can be fun too.
Right. I really enjoy having a co-partner, a tag team effort here. And I wanted to mention something Dale said. Hey, going live is my favorite in video content, and he continues. Requires less production time and more time with viewers. So yeah, great points. That's a very succinct way of saying what I was trying to get at a little while ago. If that's your concern, and I know that this has been the case for me. I have some editing to do, some rendering and so forth when I create these standalone videos. Maybe sometimes, even if you are doing a recorded interview, which we've done before, you're recording it and then you're editing it, even if it's just minimal, adjusting levels a little bit, adding your, graphics and so forth. If you go live, like it's up there and you don't have to do much else. So really, really helpful in that respect. And again, as Dale mentioned, you can connect with your viewers. It gives them a chance to have that reciprocity, and engagement and back and forth a little bit. So, all right, let's see. Next up, another idea for video content, ways to approach video. Screenshares, showing step-by-step methods of accomplishing a task. And you've done a number of these, Jordan. So I would invite. What do you think about them?
I think they're really good. I think they're really easy to produce. Again, when you're talking about just saving time, really just think about if you have something online with a program or a game or a website or WordPress or something like that, you say, hey, I know how to do that. You can go on and show the process and have your little face in the screen. And there's a program called, actually, let me see what it's called. I'm going to bring it up. Yes, OBS. That's there's other ones out there. That's a really simple one where you can kind of build your own video and how it looks and everything. Relatively simple to do and to record and to just save as a file. Right. And you can do this for anything you're doing online. Say you want to show someone how to use Facebook ads, or you want to show someone how to and we've done before, how do you get your book on Amazon? I have two pretty long and in-depth videos covering every little step of the process. And if you have people asking a lot of questions on how you do something online, submit a form, anything like that, you can show yourself doing it and answer questions that you might have along the way. For me, that's a much easier way of explaining something than going and doing it myself and then trying to transfer it over afterward. And I think people can really gather a lot from that, seeing you do it live.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I know I've done a couple of videos that are kind of demos as well. Like one, there was a question on an author group that I was a part of, and it was about, how to figure out pricing. What sort of royalty am I getting? And so, this is back when CreateSpace existed. But they had a page on their site that allowed you to say, okay, at this many pages, in this color content, in this style, how much is it going to cost per copy? And then you can kind of figure out, okay, if I set my retail price at X dollars, how much is the publisher, or is the production cost going to be, and so forth. So anyway, it's more helpful than going in and responding in a text like, hey, if you do it at 200 pages, at 6x9 in color, it's going to cost this much. So if you price it at, this many dollars, it's going to cost, this is how much you're going to earn per copy if you price it at this much, and so forth. So just being able to kind of show them how they do it, how they can do it themselves, and provide those real-time questions or real-time answers is really helpful. And again, it's kind of creating a learning library for you. So you have this content that you can continually refer back to and say, hey, that's a really good question. I did a video about this. Check that out. Let me know if that answers your question. And if it doesn't, then we can, kind of troubleshoot from there or extrapolate from there. But it gives them, gives you a chance to scale up your business and not spend time repeating, content or providing answers to things that you can create the content for one time, provide an answer for in a fairly comprehensive and step-by-step and visually interesting way once, and then it's there for forever, and then you're helping with that, let's say 5 or 10 minutes of time that you've put into it, you're helping a dozen people or 100 people, instead of just the one person.
Yeah, and I think just as an additional example with this, not even thinking about putting a video on YouTube, but this can be really helpful in developing or showing, personal relationships with clients. This is something I do with Archangel Link clients. If there's a question that I can email about, but I'm not sure how to really put this in a step-by-step in a way that's going to definitely, 100% show how to do this. I go on and just make screen share videos, and I say, hey, Bill, this is what you need to do, follow this website, follow this process. And this is how I'm doing it. And that's cool because it gives them something to look back to. I think it is more personal. Obviously, email is great if you can explain it. But yeah, if you're having trouble or if you think that maybe a screen share video can explain something better, just in a one-on-one, that can be really valuable too. Just like we talked about with the Bonjoro, that's that one-on-one email that you're sending just to one person. I think if you can do that, and in some ways you may save yourself time too. Instead of trying to construct a really long, in-depth email that may not make a whole lot of sense and may just even confuse the person even more, get on a video and just kind of show them the step-by-step process. You may even come up with things, oh, I didn't think about that, or you go to do it yourself and it's something completely different. Who knows? Right. But we found that to be really helpful within Archangel Link, just for kind of sharing some coaching processes.
Yeah, I think it's meaningful. It allows people to know that you're actually that you care. You're not delegating to somebody else to write some email to you, and it's like, hey, hey Jordan, give me a couple of minutes here, and let me show you this answer to the question that you had. Dale mentions. Sorry to be redundant. I should have just said I agree, Rob. No, I love it, Dale. It was very concise and pointed.
It was good.
I trouble. What's the expression? It's like why use a small word when a diminutive one will do? Sometimes I have a tendency to do that. And then Dale also mentions as a recommendation, Streamlabs OBS is even easier for the complete newbie. So I'm not familiar with Streamlabs OBS, but that's something I will certainly look into. So thank you for the recommendation, Dale. I know a number of people have mentioned it. Usually, when we do these lives, I don't use those other applications, but I think that's great. And folks out there, if you have tried Streamlabs OBS or other things, we'd love to hear your recommendations too. Anybody who has a strong preference or experience one way or another, your insight is valuable and welcome. So, all right, we have talked about live, going screen shares. Okay. You mentioned another app that I am not familiar with, Jordan. So I would love to learn more. An app like Lumen, Lumen 5, or yep, can be a good way to make videos fast. So how can Lumen 5 help?
So a program like this is not one that I've used, but it's on my list to
Okay.
jump into and use because it's not doing screen shares. It's not talking heads or anything like that. It's just taking content from your website and turning it into video form. So basically taking a blog post and you can kind of work it in the editor, but you can do it in a way that's just, you can put music to the background, you can put images, but it's basically taking your blog post and turning it into a video.
Okay.
That's my understanding, and that's from what I've seen. And I'm going to be using it. I will report in the future on it if I like it. But it's just another idea of something you can use. If you're one of those people that I really don't want to. I don't want to talk. I don't want to show my face.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to deal with any of that. You can still use video and still get ahead with video with a program like this.
Yep. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Again, so there are several different ways that you can do it. Again, if you are not an in front of the camera person, potentially something like Lumen 5. We mentioned Screenshares. We mentioned customer testimonials from other people, product demonstrations that don't necessarily involve you in front of the camera. But yeah. So again, when we talk about using video as a content creator, some people are shy. Some people say, "Hey, I'm a writer for a reason. I don't want to be a TV personality." You don't have to be. You can still incorporate this though, and take advantage of some of the benefits and opportunities that video afford, even if you again don't want to be a nightly newscaster. So cool. I like that. Let's see. Consider making videos, even short ones, to add to old content. So the thing that this makes me think of is, let's say you have a blog post. You have something out there. Maybe it's evergreen. It's been useful. And you're talking about budgeting or finance, or I don't know, something SEO for your burgeoning business. What if you put a video up there? What if you put it at the top of the screen or somewhere in the middle of the screen, and you can make it your own content, or you can link to other people's content too. Even on a blog post or a social media post or something. Saying, as Jordan has talked about, uploading to Kindle, involves these steps, and have a look, and then you send them over there. It's a way to refer out and take advantage of video content. Again, even if you are not necessarily the one creating it yourself, although it is more helpful and more advantageous potentially to create your own new content, to boost that engagement, to build your own learning library and so forth. But yeah, what were you envisioning about this?
With the consider making videos short ones? Yeah, exactly that. Taking recycling and reusing some of your old content and looking at it and saying, hey, could I add a video to this? And how do I want to do it? Is there a screen share that I could add? Could I, like we said, could we use a program like Lumen 5 and just turn it into, it? And in some ways, I think that can be great. I think you should probably start with either a screen share or some kind of personal interaction before that, based on what your ideas are. But yeah, if you're like, I don't really know how to turn this into something, I think using an app like that can just get something there. And I think with the way things are going, video is just, it's that key that you really, the more you can have it and the more places on your website and as part of your content, the better. So yeah, even if it's going to be short, even if it's going to be something a little bit different than you're used to, it's worth it to try to pursue that and get it on there.
Yeah, right on. No, I think that's a good idea. And like we mentioned before, when it comes to SEO, content pages with videos tend to rank a little bit more highly. There are longer page view lengths typically, because people are watching or listening to the video rather than scrolling off, and all that's going to be advantageous. It's going to increase your relevance and make you more meaningful to other people who are searching for similar things. So very cool. All right, so we kind of covered this earlier, but unboxings. People love unboxings of any kind. In our case, books, but could be other things that you're creating as well.
Yeah, I think it's just, especially if you're doing a book launch, and if you're a first-time author and you're getting your book out there for the first time, take a video yourself opening that box. You potentially huge, because that's a monumentous. Monumentous, is that a word?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that was. Yeah, monumental. There you go. Thank you, Rob. Yeah, it's a good. Let's just jump back. It's a good experience that you can post. We always talk to our authors about how they felt when they got their book, and it's definitely the moment that everyone is looking forward to. So yeah, why not open that up and share your excitement with your followers? And hey, I just got this heaven open again. Experience this with me again, inviting people to experience that moment with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I know there are authors out there who do these unboxing videos. There are also unboxing reviews or content reviews. Dale has done this with, in fact, your book, Jordan, Volcanic
Yep.
Momentum was one of them featured when he was reviewing and going over the Ingram Spark hardcover options. But he had a series of titles like, hey, how do Lulu books turn out? How do CreateSpace books turn out? How do KDP print books turn out? How do color books turn out? How's the binding? How's the paper quality? All these different options, you can kind of go through them and give people some insight. It can be helpful, obviously, for people who are in that field themselves. They might be interested in that particular book. If it's a cookbook or something, like, hey, this book looks really sharp, and it's a nice high gloss content. So if I accidentally spill a little tomato sauce on it, maybe it won't bleed through and damage the paper. But it can also be really helpful for people in our field. What is it? What can I expect if I try and use this distributor or this printer? How quickly does it make it to me? Do they package it in a way that's going to protect it? Do the images look good? Does the spine line up with the actual spine of the book, or is it kind of offset? Those sorts of things can be really helpful. So yeah, love it. Unboxings are another good option. And again, you don't even have to be in front of the camera to do that. You can have an unboxing video, which is just you holding the camera and taking a look. Walking out to your mailbox and grabbing it, and then whatever, just kind of showing people that whole process. That's fun. All right. Another thing that you can use for video, if you're looking for video content ideas, way to incorporate it. An inside look behind the scenes of how you wrote your book. So this is particularly helpful for us as book writers and as content creators. You can probably do it in other fields, but a process into the book creation experience might be really nice. So yeah, what do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, I think again, a behind the scenes look at anything. We talked about the About Us page earlier as an idea. Thinking about just how did you do it? Where were you? What what was your routine like to get it done? Anything like that. I think people could be interested in, especially other authors and people that are just invested in you and want to know more about the process. It's a good idea to provide that for them, show them what it looks like.
Yeah, and I think it would be particularly nice, especially around launch time, when you're going through that whole process. I mean, you could probably do it actually at various stages in between, but some sort of I was picturing a consolidated video like, hey, this is what my life has been like for the last several months or year or 2 years since I've been writing this book. And you can make some sort of daily diary and pull the highlights out and show people what your process is like. It could be a way to hold yourself accountable. I mean, we talked a few videos ago about productivity tips and ways to, keep yourself active. Doing some sort of accountability check like this can be really nice. Like, hey, I know I have to have some sort of video, some behind the scenes thing for this week of what I've done with my book. So I really ought to make sure I get something done. And you can say, hey, this is the product that I use. This is the process that I use. I like on one of Hassan Osman's podcasts, he talks about, he blocks out a set amount of time, half hour or an hour every day. He's not always writing during that time, but he might be researching, he might be editing, but he's not doing anything that's not related to that book. He's kind of just using that as dedicated time. So you can demonstrate what that looks like. Okay, what do I mean when I say that I'm researching? What do I mean when I'm going back and editing rather than content creating? What does all of that look like to, again, get people over that over the hump a little bit, get them started, grease the groove so that they have a sense of what they're in for, and they can kind of wrap their head around the degree of difficulty that it's going to entail, and feel more confident, like, okay, yeah, this might be a little bit tough, but I think I can do it. I've seen it happen. I know what's involved. I can conceptualize it. Let's get started. And so, yeah, I think that can be really helpful. And when you're doing it in the process of creating your book, it's a way to continually create content that is reminding people that you have a book coming out. It's
Yeah.
something that you can do that's marketing, that's relatively low pressure. It's not going to say, hey, by the way, my book's out, buy it. It's yeah, this is the whole process. This is what's involved. Another thing that I've seen, I think we mentioned it as well. Some authors will kind of talk about their ongoing marketing efforts or their current book sale.
Yep.
Maybe they had really good sales and like, hey, today we got this many books, and I found that promoting on this particular platform is really helpful. And this is kind of what I'm saying, or this is the feedback that I've been getting. So you have some continual creation that or continual content that you're creating that reminds people about this. So you don't even have to have a hard sale anywhere in there or an ask. It's just you leave it at the bottom, like, hey, by the way, buy my book is available on Amazon or wherever. So it's just a nice way to potentially provide value while doing some soft marketing and getting people more invested in you.
Yep.
Right on. Okay, so last comment on here: be creative. Think of ways that it would make sense for you to incorporate videos and do it. Give it a shot. What are your thoughts? Anything you want to say on that front, Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of self-explanatory, but yeah, just thinking outside the box, but also thinking about just what is going to be best for your audience. Maybe it's one of the things we shared. Maybe you're thinking, I could do a video series on this, but I don't know if anyone would be interested. Well, just put yourself in the shoes of your audience. If it's something that'd be helpful and could add value to pre-existing content or is just brand new content, go ahead and do it, and try it and get yourself out there. Always trying to push to get people just to, don't take a step back and worry about whether it's going to be a perfect fit. Just give it a try and see what happens, and then adjust from there, and then go from there based on what your feedback might be.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's really key. You don't have to do all of these. You don't have to do any of these, but trying something can be helpful. And the spirit of this this video here is to just give you different ideas, different ways to approach it, different things that you think, yeah, actually, I can kind of do that. Maybe I don't feel great just yet about going live, on any sort of set schedule, but I could do a product review, or, I could do a screen share, or, maybe I don't feel really confident in doing a screen share, but I could jump on Bonjoro and say, hey, thanks so much for signing up to my list. It means the world to me. And I hope, I hope that you enjoy the content that you're about to receive. Something like that. So whatever it is that could work for you potentially, feel free to experiment with that. You don't have to do all of them, but hopefully one or more of these might be of interest enough that you give it a shot and see what sort of fruit it bears. So, all right, and I just wanted to go over quickly here since we're already at the hour mark, and I thought we were going to be pretty quick, but I guess we had more to say than we.
It's gonna be one of the longest videos, Rob.
I know. All right, tools to get started. So just a couple of things. The easiest one that I would say, smartphone. Smartphone on something like Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Just plug it in. Most smartphones have some sort of video and audio capacity. You don't necessarily need any separate mic or separate video to record all of this. So give that a shot. You might use the headset with your smartphone. If that helps. But you don't even have to do that. Just jump on. And how many videos have you seen where somebody's holding their camera up? It's like, hey, what's up, everybody? This is Rob, and I'm here on Thursday night, and I'm talking to you on Facebook Live. It's great to be here, and you start saying whatever you want to say. So you can do that, and maybe that's easy, and maybe the barrier of entry is low enough for that's going to be what gets you started. But you don't need any dedicated extra equipment. You don't need special lighting necessarily. You can have just natural lighting. Natural lighting often is really good. One tip on that I wanted to share that I came across, and I like this, is take a picture of yourself from 4 or 8 different directions in your room, or whatever space you're at. See which one looks the best, and use that. You can sort of start to figure out lighting based on your surroundings, and you can usually tell intuitively. You take a picture here and here and here and here, and all scooped around, and maybe you don't have pro lighting equipment, but you just realize, hey, it looks kind of better this way. Go with that. That's a really helpful and useful way to start off with lighting. Again, just with a smartphone.
The only added note with a smartphone, Rob, is it is amazing to me how the technology in a smartphone can be comparable to like a webcam and a mic. If that's all you have, definitely, if you don't have like an upgraded, top of the line microphone or camera, use a smartphone, especially if you have probably one of the new iPhones, or my wife has a Google Pixel, and the quality of the sound and the video is better than pretty much anything else we have right now, which it blows me away in some ways that just a small smartphone can be that good. But yeah, I mean, test it and see how it works compared to what else you have. But it might surprise you.
Yeah, I agree. I think there are even some films that have been filmed entirely on iPhones that have won Academy Awards. So it's not a technical barrier anymore necessarily. So if that helps you kind of grease the grooves and get started, then by all means do that. Another thing, kind of on that note, your laptop mic and camera, or desktop for that matter. I have an iMac here and a Mac notebook, and I use that for a number of my audio video or my initial videos. Literally just that microphone and that camera was enough to produce reasonably good quality material. Again, when you're starting out, done is better than perfect, and you're trying to establish your groove. And I think if you are honest and transparent about it and not presenting yourself as an Academy Award winner necessarily just yet, but just trying to, hey, I'm trying this out. Let me know what you guys think, and I'm open to feedback and improvements and suggestions. Then doing something like that, you can have a pretty wide degree of latitude, and that might make it a little simpler to just get going. Another thing that I wanted to mention, what I use currently and what a lot of streamers and web content creators use, is the Logitech C920 webcam. I really like that. It's not too expensive. I think, it's under $100. Obviously that folks have different budgets, but as far as webcams go, that's a pretty good one. I think Logitech has a slightly higher end option as well, but this one has worked pretty well for me, and it allows for streaming and video creation in 1080p. So that's high def. It's not 4K, but it's pretty dang good. And a lot of times, actually, like with Streamlabs here, we have I think a 720 limit anyway on how high of a resolution it can actually upload. So you might be limited by some of those, but for this purpose, that's my recommendation. And then for audio, for the audio input, the ATR 2100 USB microphone has worked really well for me. I've used that for several years. One of the nice things about it is it does have an XLR connection port on the bottom. I haven't used that myself, but a lot of people who are more familiar with audio and have higher specifications probably than we do for our purposes here. They swear by an XLR. XLR input is what you would see with you connect it to a mixer, I believe, and it's going to produce kind of more studio quality sound. This one, obviously, it's connected with a USB mic, so it has both options and it makes it easy. You don't have to do a whole lot to get through that. Did you want to say anything on either of those previous recommendations?
No. Yeah, the webcam is the one I used to, and I used to use the ATR as well. I left it behind because we packed very light. If I knew we were going to be in Lisbon for for as long as we have and for the foreseeable future, I would have definitely made sure to get that in there. The actual the mic is the one I'm using on the webcam itself is not as good quality as the ATR microphone was. So yeah, if I had known, I would have found a way to pack it in there, put it in the side slot of my backpack, whatever. I would have packed it with me. It would have made the cut. But yeah, traveling going different places month to month, unfortunately it didn't make the cut, but I wish I could have it back, Rob. I miss it.
Yeah, it's all good. But,
it sounds really good.
Folks out there, you can get this on Amazon. It used to be available for around $60 or $70. It looks like, at least when I was just searching for it earlier, it's around $100 now, which I think is still a pretty reasonable price. There are other USB mics or other recommendations out there, but that's just what we use. And what I like. So if that helps somebody, sometimes I think, just tell me what to get. I don't care. I don't want to market research. I don't want to know. Those would be what I recommend for these purposes. So,
and I know those two, Rob, do consistently come up on blogs and other people too. There's a lot of other people that give the same recommendations, same camera, same mic. So they're pretty popular.
Yeah. And I think that's it. So. Cool. what do you guys think? We'd love to hear your recommendations, your ideas. What sort of equipment do you like to use? What sort of content do you like to create? What do you find makes it easier for you to do that? If you've tried video content before, has it moved the needle at all for your business? Is it a core part of your business strategy? Is it something that has helped sell additional books and create more following, more of a following behind you? Is it something that has been more work than it's worth for you? We'd love to hear. Have you done anything with video? What's worked for you? So yeah, definitely let us know. We're interested to learn more and to get feedback out there. Hopefully this information has been helpful. I feel really good about this, Jordan. I really like the number of different ideas that we have, and some of them just kind of reminded me of different things that we could be doing. Obviously, aside from the weekly lives that we've been trying to do, there are other things that we could be doing as well to kind of boost our video usage. So really, really cool stuff. Any other thoughts that you have?
No, I was gonna say too, it's totally got me fired up to do different things on my own. Like I said, I want to think about how I would go live. Again, I don't know if I want to do it on my own. It definitely helps to have someone there. But yeah, it gives you a lot of, I'm excited too about the different opportunities we talked about. But yeah, we'd love to hear from anyone out there. If there's any questions you have after watching this video, if you stuck with us all the way to the end here. If there's anything that you need help with, if you're like, okay, I want to go live, how do I do that? That's something we could do. We could do a live video on how to go live. How meta is that? We could do a demonstration of how to do the screen share video. We could do a screen share on how to do a screen share. We can do those type of things if anyone is interested in that and wants to see it. If there's any barriers to entry like that we could help with, that would be great content for us to do. And value to provide. But yeah, just let us know. Let us know in the comments what your questions are. And that helps Rob and I kind of think of next videos to do too. And again, you could add that as another thing. If you're wondering what videos to do, ask your audience, ask them what they need, ask them what they would like to see, and then do it.
Yep. And I would say too, yeah, be receptive to that and make sure to have your own vision and ideas as well. So, certainly we like and appreciate when there are ideas and topics that come up, but we're not going to stop making videos just because nobody sent us one this week. We will make sure to do it. So if you find something that you like and that you enjoy, and that seems to be working for you, prioritize consistency. Consistency generally is regarded as one of the pillars of your digital business. So good luck. We hope this is helpful and encourage you to consider video if you're not using it already, or if you are, to take more advantage of it, take fuller advantage of it. With that, I think we're all set. Appreciate the video tonight, Jordan, and folks, we will see you guys next time.
Good deal.